Troy, it's been so long. How are you, sir?
Various levels of doing good and bad.
Yeah? Why? Whatever's going on in the world that would have you feeling bad? The world's great right now.
Well, I mean,
Everything's great.
We've elected.
I was told we're making things great again.
Yeah, we've elected President Thaddeus Ross.
I mean, kinda.
And a little bit worse than that. But he does sometimes turn real red, and he does start punching the top of the White House. That does happen. And he does keep a weird.
Why is he a Red Hulk? Are they trying to make some sort of political statement? I don't like woke movies, Troy.
Well,
This is Captain America: Brave New World, aka Captain America 3?
4.
4?
Civil War is 3.
I guess that does count
First
as a Captain
Avenger,
America movie.
Winter. It says Captain America on it. It says
Captain America Civil War. Fine. So this is Captain America 4. Yes?
Yep.
And this is the first Captain America starring Anthony Mackie. Primary.
Correct.
No Christopher Evans.
Correct.
Okay. So we have a new Thaddeus Ross as well. The character got recast.
Because
I feel like that I feel like we've seen Thaddeus Ross before.
So he was played by William Hurt, who died.
Okay.
So he was not returning for this movie.
Did Hurt have a mustache? Is that where that joke came from?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why he says
they said
that,
lose the mustache or lose the election,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh, I got
That
to
was
use this new look."
That was the explanation for why you look like Harrison Ford. So if you shaved your mustache,
This is the
you could look like Harrison
second
Ford.
or third time they've recast a character between Marvel movies, right?
So there's obviously famously Don Cheadle.
Yeah, Don Cheadle,
And
and now we have Thaddeus Ross.
is there another one?
I feel like there was.
Well, technically, Mark Ruffalo and Edward Norton.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's a technicality.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating how things have kind of shifted a little bit there. And now we have Robert Downey Jr. coming in as Dr. Doom in like a year and a half, right?
Yeah, but that's not really a recast. It's weird stuff.
I mean, there's no way they don't turn it into like a variant of Tony, right?
I mean, sure. I don't know what that is. I don't really. I am in and also we're gonna not do theme song.
Now we're just jumping into it, man.
All right.
Who cares? We haven't done a podcast in like a month and a half.
But we are in a weird situation where
Tell you what, I'll do it for you. TB&J. There you go. Done. Boom.
Thank you. Yeah, people don't know what this is. I'm Troy, you're Jeff.
They know how to read.
Yeah, but I mean,
And
do
this
they?
is not going to be their first episode.
Yeah, but no, it's weird because right now I am sort of in a world where I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, I'm not super jazzed about Marvel movies at the moment. I think that this could have brought me back in.
Could have, but didn't?
Didn't really. I wasn't super into it. It sounded like you were a little bit more plussed on it than I was.
I was, yeah.
I think that Thunderbolts is going to be a big. I think that they are running a thing right now. They kind of took a year off and threw in Deadpool last year.
Mm-hmm.
Deadpool, I believe, is the only Marvel thing that came out last year. I don't even know if there was a TV show.
2024. There definitely was in 2024.
I know they took a big step. It was
Agatha.
Yeah, Agatha is what I was going to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I think those were the only two things, unless I'm missing something.
Deadpool. Craven.
Craven was Sony and bad. That's
Echo.
part of the Madam.
Echo was last
Echo
year.
was last year.
Allegedly.
That felt forever ago.
Allegedly, that was also last year.
Was Secret Invasion last year then?
Oh no, Secret Invasion. Oh shit, maybe that was last year.
I feel like that was after Echo. I could be wrong about that though.
I think you're right. I think that was like right after Echo.
It was also bad.
But like, regardless, 2024 was not a great year for Marvel.
Well, yeah, but they explicitly were kind of trying to take a year off, movie-wise at least.
Yeah.
And then put in Deadpool, which kind of counts, kind of doesn't. And I mean, it does count, but it's like it like counts like most.
Sure,
of it. It's
yeah.
like 80% it counts.
Yeah.
But it's not really the same thing. And
2026 is going to be stacked. Armor Wars, Spider-Man 4.
I believe Armor Wars just got canceled.
Okay, I'm looking at old information then.
Sure.
But Spider-Man 4, Wonder Man, Vision Quest, Shang-Chi 2, and Avengers. Oh, Kang Dynasty.
That's
that's
not happening.
It's definitely not that anymore.
Yeah, I don't know how many of that how much of that is on the slate still.
Yeah, who knows, man?
But yeah, I think that the big swing was we're going to take a year off. We're going to give, we're going to throw in Deadpool as like a surefire, like, this will make some people laugh.
Definitely going to bring in the people.
Except for D, who thought it was the end of movies as we know it.
Yeah, who said it was like a tribute to capitalism or some bullshit like that. No, that's not. It was just a dumb movie that was dumb.
I mean, every single Marvel movie is a tribute to capitalism, but that's
completely different. But yeah, this movie was just, it's what people wanted. The logical escalation, if you will, of the third Deadpool movie, because the first one was trying some funny stuff and some weird stuff. The second one capitalized on that and made it bigger and better. Better's the wrong word there. They made it bigger and more in your face.
Fan.
No, I'm not saying it's the wrong word. I'm saying that
sure.
I used a subjective word when I was making an objective statement.
There's a lot of people who... I think one being the best is probably the most popular opinion.
Sure. 2 was bigger and more over the top and more in your face. And then 3, well, how do we get even bigger than that? Well, we have to bring back all of the old Fox fucking heroes that people have forgotten about.
It's supposed to be kind of like a goodbye homage to the whole Fox thing.
Exactly, especially with that fucking Green Day tribute at the end.
Mm.
Which felt exactly like a fucking tribute you would make in 2006.
Yep. But the big calculation is we're gonna come back, we're gonna regroup a little bit, and we're gonna do Captain America and sort of talk about rebuilding the Avengers a little bit, and say here's the new Captain America, here's the new Marvel. It feels like kinda, and then they go,
no, that's exactly what we just had. Yeah.
And then they're gonna say they're gonna go Fantastic Four. Is it Fantastic Four before Thunderbolts or after?
Thunderbolts first. Thunderbolts is next.
First.
They will be out May 2nd, and then we have Fantastic Four July 25th.
I feel like this movie is allowed to be bad. I feel like Thunderbolts is a little bit less allowed to be bad, and I think Fantastic Four has to kill it.
Fantastic Four absolutely has to kill it. They have put too much effort into the marketing and build-up hype of this movie for it to fall on its face. They absolutely need it to be a home run right out the gate. Thunderbolts, I feel like they're trying to follow up all of the B plot stuff. I say that's not the right terminology, but all the stuff that's been minor plots and minor characters for now, like the Scarlet Widow movie with Yelena, and then she was a side character in the Hawkeye show, and you have Bucky's back, you got U.S. Agent is there, fucking Ghost, Taskmaster, Red Warrior, I think his name was? Red Guardian. Regardless. They've all these like side characters and other pieces from things that are coming back to do the Thunderbolts.
I think if that movie's great, then they're gonna run with that forever.
Oh, if that movie's great, it becomes like its own like spin-off franchise almost. Yeah. There's no way it doesn't.
If it's not good, I think it's enough side characters minus maybe Bucky where they can kind of push it under the rug and be like, those characters are around, but that's not really the thing.
Right.
Like that one's a little bit more excusable. I think Fantastic Four, if that flops, then we're in trouble.
Do you feel like that the Thunderbolts is almost going to be like an audition tape for those guys to see who makes it into Avengers Doomsday? Not necessarily becomes an Avenger, but like makes it into the movie maybe.
I think it's an audition tape to see if they want to do Dark Avengers.
Okay, that's kind of where I was leading with that question.
Which is why I think that there's an asterisk at the end of the name now.
Yeah, because he's like, we can't call ourselves the Thunderbolts. Like, they say that a couple times in the movie. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, there was a comic I read as a child, and I say a child, this was 20 years ago. Weren't the Thunderbolts arranged by General Ross?
Yeah, because he's Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross.
Right, like they were agents of Ross. It's similar to Amanda Waller being like in charge of the Suicide Squad.
Yep.
Ross was in charge of the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, but they're not called the Wallers. That'd be
stupid. Yeah,
that'd be pretty dumb.
No, but what I'm saying is, how does the name come about at all? If I mean, spoilers for the movie that you're watching or listening to the review for. Ross is now in prison.
Yes.
No longer the president. No longer in charge of anything, let alone a squad. How I guess we'll find out in the Thunderbolts movie. But it seems really, really odd that they would make Ross's Squad, the movie, like their movie, follow up the movie that ends with Ross in jail.
Right, and
It seems like a weird layout of a timeline.
when it's sort of run by I forget her name, but
oh shit, Ruth, was that his?
No. I'm talking about
comics or
no, Elaine from Seinfeld.
Oh God, her character. Yeah, I don't remember her name.
I don't remember her character's name.
I only know Elaine from Seinfeld. I'm so sorry. I'm sure that actress is Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't remember the character name at all.
We kept saying Elaine from Seinfeld. I know Julia Louis-Dreyfus' name.
I knew her name.
I know her name, and I know Elaine from Seinfeld. I don't know what Marvel calls her. But
do you think Kramer's going to show up?
No.
Why not? What's wrong?
I mean, he's probably on the board of the Kennedy Center now.
Mm.
You hear about that?
No.
Okay, you know what the Kennedy Center is?
The Kennedy Center? No.
Yeah, it's this not governing body, but they're not actually government, that kind of oversees like live performance in America.
Mm-hmm.
Trump just fired everyone and put himself in charge.
Nice, cool, thanks, love that.
And the whole new board is like all Trump cronies and people that suck his dick.
Yeah, I only care about one Kennedy.
He said entertainment in this country is too wokey. Exact quote.
Oh, no, I did hear about that. I just didn't know that's what it was called.
Yeah, the Kennedy Center.
Yeah.
He put himself in charge.
Yeah. I only care about one Kennedy, and it's he's the guy in charge of my health now.
Yeah, great. Can't wait to go off to those fucking concentration camps. I mean, rehabilitation camps. Because I take stimulant medication for my ADHD, which apparently makes me a fucking degenerate. Oh, my God, this fucking guy. This is why we have not done a podcast in a while. The world's been very depressing. And the podcast is a joyous thing I do. Troy, your fucking leg is shaking my microphone. I'm going to cut them off at the knees. I will put you in a wheelchair, Mr. Xavier. God damn. Anyway, back to Captain America. I don't want to talk about Trump. Back to the fake Trump, Thaddeus Ross, Mr. Red Hulk himself, Harrison Ford, if you will. Troy,
right,
thumbs up, thumbs down on this movie.
This is a sequel to Air Force One. Not my own joke.
I thought it was a sequel to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
No, that would be weirder. I'm in a world where we only go thumbs up, thumbs down. I'm gonna go thumbs down.
I know. We talked about this immediately after the movie ended.
Yep.
But I am a thumbs up on this movie.
Yeah.
I think what the Marvel Universe needed desperately and still needs more of
was a bird with a shield.
Is yes, they need more of Anthony Mackie. They need more of that old school Captain America of like, I'm a thing for kids to believe in and aspire to be. I am a symbol of hope. I am a symbol of a peace and unity in the country. And he delivers a fucking speech to Ross that makes him calm down and makes him come down from being Red Hulk. And he accepts the consequences of his actions. He doesn't try to scapegoat anybody. I really enjoyed that.
You want Captain America to throw his mighty shield, and those who oppose his shield must yield.
Is that?
That's like the old 60s theme song, yeah.
Oh, boy.
The one that's like all like a slideshow of still images of Captain America punching bad guys.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it's pretty rough looking.
A lot of those 60s shows were pretty rough around the edges. We only look back fondly on Batman because of Adam West. But I wanted more like hopeful, like real-ass Captain America back into the Marvel Universe. I feel like Marvel's been trying to go very dark, very gritty, very like kind of DC, but they don't have the balls to full send it because that'd be a bad idea anyway.
Right.
So I wanted more of this like bright, happy stuff. And that's also kind of why I'm excited for James Gunn's new Superman.
Yeah, I think that we're going to see a big role reverse where suddenly the colorful, happy superhero movies is DC.
Which, this was a very colorful movie for sure.
Yeah.
It was not very grit. Like, the fucking battle takes place in a giant park with cherry blossom trees, and Cap himself is covered in the red, white, and blue.
I think there's still a little bit of... people have criticized for years since Iron Man 1... that Marvel has kind of a color palette that's not super, super poppy, like colorful. And
it's a little muted.
Yeah, this is still muted, but it does have a lot of like the set pieces that look interesting, yeah.
There's a lot more like diversity of color, but there's nothing too bright or bold. It's a lot of neutral tones of different colors.
Yeah.
if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, which is also why I think people are excited for Fantastic Four, because they're going for like that kind of like fictional sci-fi 50s 60s aesthetic, and then
Yes.
and then that's very bright and colorful looking. It doesn't look like it's the same kind of color palette as Marvel stuff.
Absolutely not. Yeah, you're completely correct. So we have Captain America teaming up with a brand new Falcon, right? Joaquin Torres, played by Danny Ramirez, an actor so well known, his picture on Google here is blank. There's just a black empty square here next to Giancarlo Esposito, who looks fabulous, might I add.
How old is Giancarlo?
Giancarlo? 60s?
I feel like you kind of could say any age over 40 and I would have believed you.
66.
66.
Yeah, he's looking good for
not
66. But Troy, I actually had a question for you. Isaiah Bradley, is that a comic character?
I believe it is. I know he was really, really big in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the show.
Okay.
He's kind of some of the best stuff in that show. Even I like.
This
Falcon.
is where my ignorance shines through just a little bit, because I did not watch the Captain America and the Winter Soldier TV show.
Yep.
Because it was getting not great reviews, and
it's pretty.
I think checked out on it after episode 2 or 3.
It's pretty good, I thought, and then I think the ending is pretty it's milquetoast. It's like not very interesting. It kind of is like a big punch, and then he goes, "I'm Captain America now," and then he flies away.
Wow.
Like I think that there's some interesting stuff in that show, and I like it, and I think Isaiah Bradley's some of the better stuff in that show.
Okay.
And I think he's some of the better stuff in this movie in the beginning of it. I think that he's got a lot of like heart and emotion behind his character of like somebody who's kind of Tuskegee projected into being Captain America, and he's like a Captain America in like the 70s and 80s.
Oh.
Like he gets like Vietnam Captain America stuff, and people don't really talk about him at all.
Huh.
Because he's a black Captain America, and they basically imprisoned him immediately afterwards.
Yeah, they did, didn't they? And then he was being experimented on for, they say, 30 years?
Yeah.
Holy shit, my guy. They really did him dirty, huh?
Yep. And I think that's where you get a lot of the themes from Captain America or Falcon and Winter Soldier, where the whole kind of plot is like, what does it mean for a black man to be Captain America? I think that the message gets a little hamstringed by like being a Disney thing, and they don't really want to go too into
they water down
race
their own
politics.
message a bit.
Yeah, a little bit. And that's kind of what leads to the ending being like, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. They say it without outright saying it.
Yeah.
Because, like, he says things that's like, I feel like I always had to fight for a place at the table, and now other people like me can do this and that. And it's like, oh, are you referring to people that didn't come from means? Are you referring to people of color? Like, the answer broadly is yes.
In the show, they do say that specifically. They do talk about, like, race stuff. It's just it doesn't go as, like, as serious as it probably should in the later half.
Sure. Troy.
Yep.
Did you how much marketing did you know about this movie before we got into
a lot of it? I knew the leader was the bad guy. I knew about Red Hulk. I mean, Red Hulk's fucking everywhere. Literally on every, like, you walk down a grocery store aisle and he's on fucking everything.
That's what I was really hinting at, because fucking I watch a lot of the late night talk shows, and for the last several weeks Harrison Ford's been making the rounds on everything, and all anyone wants to talk to him about is what it was like being Red Hulk and what it was like to film the Marvel stuff. And I'm just like, guys, wasn't this supposed to be like a big thing in the movie? Like, I feel like you're revealing your villain a little early. I don't know. I feel like they overplayed their hand.
It's also weird that there's like, they don't put it in any of the marketing like right off the bat, but they do say a lot about there's like articles and stuff like that where you could have figured out that the leader was the bad guy too. Like it
right.
was.
I didn't know the leader was a thing at all until actually watching the movie.
Yeah. It's also weird because, and I think this is one of the things I don't like about it, but it's not one that I could have liked this movie more, and the stuff all be in it. The leader and Red Hulk, both Hulk villains.
Mm-hmm.
And
This is clearly not a Hulk movie.
Not a whole lot of Hulk in it. No.
There's zero Bruce Banner.
They say his name a lot.
They say his name twice.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah, it's certainly not. I don't love this new trend of just taking good bad guys from comics and putting them into whatever hero is due for a film next. I would much rather they keep like villains with like heroes. But
I mean, Hulk has some weird rules with Paramount that because they kind of got it from them originally. The first Hulk movie wasn't Disney.
That's
so
right, yeah.
It kind of got caught in some weird politics, and because of that,
Angry.
They can't really. Yep,
I remember.
But there was Ang Lee, but then the one that's actually in the MCU, the one that they show clips
Ed
of.
Norton's.
Yeah,
Hulk.
that's not Ang Lee. That's a different one.
That's the second Incredible Hulk movie that came out.
Yes.
There was Ang Lee, and that was like in what 99, 2000.
No, it was 2005, 6. So she was like a little bit after
that was
Iron
Ed
Man.
Norton's.
That's what I'm talking about. You're talking about Ang Lee.
The first one.
That's like 2002.
Yeah, and then they did a reboot basically 4 or 5 years later.
Yep.
It felt real weird.
And then it kind of got roped into because Iron Man happened, and then Disney bought Marvel, and then the Hulk
Iron
movie...
Man was pre-Disney?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was like the talks of them buying Marvel was like happening, and then Iron Man and Hulk happened, and then they basically took Robert Downey Jr. and put him at the end of the Hulk movie and said Avengers, and then the other movies happened.
And then you got Phase 1, as they call it now.
Yeah. And then the first like Disney ones were First Avenger and Thor.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, it was a real weird kind of like everything kind of happened at one time, and I imagine Paramount, like whoever put that deal through has a gun in their mouth.
Yeah, sure. That being said, I don't back to Brave New World. We certainly heard a lot about this movie leading up to it. I think to its detriment almost.
Yes.
Because this movie was sold to me by the ads as Captain America versus Red Hulk.
Yep.
And we don't get Red Hulk until like the 11th hour.
It's a real long wait, and there's a whole lot of maybe he's getting mad. He's getting real mad.
Yeah. They have 2 different fake outs.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like you feel yourself starting to sneeze, but then you just like hold it in a little bit.
Yep. And I think it really would have benefited by them not putting him on the poster.
Yeah, probably.
I don't think it's quite Darth Maul lightsaber territory. It's not that.
It's okay.
But it's
not far.
No.
It's really not far. Because the you don't get Red Hulk until basically the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's not like a crazy long drawn out fight either.
No, it's not I think that's where a lot of my dissatisfaction comes from is I'm just kind of it felt like a movie where I was waiting for Red Hulk and then it happened and I went, "Okay." Like that's how I sort of felt about it.
At the same time, I'm glad they didn't draw it out because that would have been crazy unrealistic since Cap didn't take the serum.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just a dude in a vibranium wingsuit and a shield trying to take on a Hulk.
Yep.
Who's maybe not as big as Bruce Banner because he looks like he's standing like 8-9 feet tall, and I think a Hulk stands 10, 11, 12?
I don't know.
It's always changes, but I feel like Hulk, that as we saw him previously, was massive, and Harrison Ford was like maybe 1.5 Anthony Mackie's tall. He wasn't like big. He was big, but
do
he
you
wasn't
do all
like...
your measurements in Anthony Mackie's?
No, usually I do my measurements in Peter Dinklage's.
Ah.
It's an easier unit of measurement.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah. Also, speaking of Red Hulk, it was real weird seeing him de-transform, and then you saw a shirtless Harrison Ford for a second.
Yep.
And I was like, oh yeah, he's like 90.
And also not the era where you want to see shirtless Harrison Ford.
No, that is not Temple of Doom shirtless Harrison Ford.
We're past Harrison Ford shirtless, I think.
Yeah. little bit. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd still fuck him.
I will say this: it is kind of funny that we're in an era of Harrison Ford I didn't think we were going to get to, where I think we had like early figuring out movie star Harrison Ford, and that's Han Solo, that's Indiana Jones. And then there's a period of time where he hits like the fuck this, fuck Hollywood, I'm grumpy all the time Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought we were going to go all the way through his life of that. And I feel like now he's like kind of having fun with it.
Yeah.
And he's just sort of like, yeah, fuck it, I'll be the Red Hulk. I don't care. Like, and I
pay. Oh yeah, sure.
But he's also like he's like turned the grumpiness into like a fun sort of thing about him, where he's like what the fuck's a Force ghost? I don't know. Like he's leaning into it a little bit. He's kind of trolling now.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that about him. Don't get me wrong. Don't ever change, Harrison. We love you as you are, buddy. But you're absolutely right. We have eclipsed that point where he's now just an old man. He knows he's an old man.
He's got grandkids. They want to see him in a Marvel movie.
Yeah. And, Grandpa, you say you're a movie star. Why haven't we seen you in a Marvel thing? It's like, all right, fine. I'll do a fucking Marvel thing. Hey, Marvel, what can I do? Oh, you want to be a grumpy old Red Hulk man? Done.
I mean, like I said, he's been. How many times has Harrison Ford been in the president? Just Air Force One, or is he?
Just Air Force One.
Okay.
And now this. He's only ever portrayed the president these 2 times. And Thaddeus Ross is only president for like 3 months.
Would you vote for Indiana Jones for president?
Yes.
Would you vote for The Fugitive for president?
Yes, he didn't actually kill his family or his wife.
Would you vote for Han Solo?
Ooh.
Not from America.
Yeah.
Not born in America.
No.
Corellia, as far as I know, not on America.
So it actually doesn't matter.
Yep.
It's an invalid
question.
question.
Can't vote for him.
Can't vote for him anyway. As much as I may or may not want to, I don't. I don't want a legitimate criminal running and winning president.
That would be wild if that happened, though. But that's thankfully that would never happen in the United States of America. Anyway, what do you think? What was your favorite thing about this? As somebody who liked this more than me.
Why, man? We're having a good day, kinda. Favorite thing. Pacing was fine. It was a solid Marvel movie with good action scenes. I did love seeing Anthony Mackie with the shield and the wings and just doing his thing. The new Falcon, he feels like a little bit of like a Spider-Man wannabe.
Mm.
He's a little quippy. He's a little mouthy.
I like him. He's a little much.
Yeah.
I think that in later movies, you said he's like a relatively like he hasn't been in anything, or not a whole lot.
I mean, when I Googled him, he doesn't have a fucking picture.
Right. I may have. I feel like I've seen him before, but I could be wrong.
He's been acting for a few years. He was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Okay, sure. Well, I think he's also in. I know the character is in Endgame. Like he's one of the guys that is like getting counsel. Or no, he's in one of the Captain America movies. I think getting counseling. But I don't know if it's the same actor.
No.
Okay.
No, it's a different. It might be the same character, but it's a different actor for sure. Yeah, he's gonna be in Last of Us season 2 as Manny.
Okay.
So
is he in season 1?
No, Manny's a new character for season 2. Or the second game. I guess that's the same thing that I just said. But regardless, yes. Yeah, but he was still Joaquin Torres in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Okay.
But for 5 episodes. But yeah, this is like one of his first like big things as like a big character.
Yeah. So I think as he's in more things, they could tone him down a little bit because I like the idea of the character. I don't think that he did a bad job acting. I think that he's a little too quippy all the time.
Yeah. Just a bit. I mean, it was the quippiness and the fun stuff was great in the beginning years of superhero movies, and it helped really allow the public to really get into it rather than just being, nerdy comic book movies. But now I'm a little fatigued.
I mean, I think it depends on how good it is. I think like you look at like Guardians 3, I think that it works in that.
It does, but I guess you're right. The writing just needs to be a little bit better for your quips. It needs to be actually relevant. It needs to be things that the characters would say, not just like, oh, dumb joke here.
Also, it's a little bit of a tonal thing. Of this one's a little bit more like all the Captain America movies are a little bit more like espionage, sort of political intrigue.
Yeah.
Like they're kind of, they feel a little bit more as prestige as a Marvel movie it can get, at least. And Guardians is a little bit more like pulp fiction fun stuff most of the time.
I would agree with that. That's a solid comparison right there. Captain America movies are kind of prestigious, and that's like really really good fucking shit happens in those movies. They got good writers, and it's usually like a very dramatic story, a very intense script. Versus Guardians, where it's like, my dad is a god.
Yep.
And let's go fuck around with that for 2 hours.
Right. Let's the plot hinges on talks about Kevin Bacon and Mary Poppins.
Yeah. Exactly. Troy, why did you not really enjoy this movie as much as you wanted to?
I think that there's three major things. One, we touched on it, of it's way overmarketed. And I kind of feel like I saw a lot of the movie.
Yeah, I feel like that's a problem that movies in general suffer from these days, not necessarily this one specifically.
My two going into it is, I was a little bored by it, and I think it was they really, really dragged out the Red Hulk, and that was their big set piece.
Yeah.
And there wasn't, the other fight scenes are mostly him punching guys with guns. And the one thing I think about Captain America movies in general, especially Winter Soldier, is it has some of the most kinetic, kind of action scenes in them. It looks like I always think back to Winter Soldier when he kicks the one guy off the boat in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
And that's a thing that I see today, and I go, oh, that fucking hurts. And I didn't get as much as the fucking real kinetic,
I know
choreography in this. Choreography.
The fight scenes could have been better choreographed.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it is, there's one big super powered character at the end of it, and we're not really getting to him. And also I was not into the leader. I'm pretty heavily anti-leader in this movie. I think he's weird. I think he looks, I was going to say he looks weird, but obviously. But I don't know. I didn't like the design of him in this. To be fair, the leader design is always kind of dorky and stupid looking.
I looked up some photos just now. Yeah, he looks
It's
like
hard to do an interesting looking leader live action. There's also a character they've been sitting on for 20 years now, because he's in the first Hulk movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's in it for 2 seconds, and he gets a little bit of Hulk blood on his head, and his head starts moving. And then it kind of felt like for years we were just never going to get back to that guy. So This is a returning character. But I don't know. I wasn't feeling him. I think there's a lot of weird moments where he's like, I'm the smartest guy, one of the smartest guys in the Marvel universe. I've planned this whole thing, and then he just kind of randomly walks up in front of Captain America, and I'm like, I get what you're going for, but it seemed like he was just kind of you just kind of wanted a scene with the main character and the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I was not feeling him. He's a weird guy in a trench coat and a hat for half the movie.
Okay. What can you tell me about the head of defense, whatever her name was, Ruth, I think? Or
So this is a bit of a controversial character in this movie.
You say that like I'm supposed to know what that means.
She's basically in the comics, I forget what her actual hero name is, but she's essentially Captain Israel.
Oh.
Which, as you could guess, is a little controversial right now. And in the movie, in the comics, she kind of leans to being mostly a bad guy. It's mostly Stan Lee and Steve Ditko and stuff like that. Jack Kirby, I couldn't think of his name. He's the big one.
Yeah.
That it was kind of them having some statements that were sort of against the state of Israel as a Jewish comic book company, basically. There's a whole comic book where basically the Hulk is like, I may be a big green guy who fucking breaks buildings, but like you're the real monster, like kind of thing.
Oh.
So for her to be in this movie, and they kind of stripped away they say 1 second she's in Israel, and that's about it. And she has the same name.
She was born in Israel, and she's left the widow program. Yeah,
she's more of like a Captain America type in the comics.
Okay.
But obviously there's some tension around the idea of Marvel adding sort of I forget what her real name is, but it's not Captain Israel, but it's basically Captain Israel. That being said, they strip a lot of it down to not be that, and I know that this movie went through a ton of reshoots, and I'm wondering how much of it was that. But overall, I mean, with the context that I had going into it, she's a weird character to me. I don't think that the actor did a horrible job, but I didn't love the character either. She didn't do a whole lot for me.
Okay. All right. Okay. I have a question for you as well as the resident Marvel guy. How is this the first reference of adamantium in MCU?
Yes.
I thought it was, but I just wanted to double check that. It is.
Yeah, unless you count Deadpool, but that doesn't really count.
Deadpool doesn't count because that was always a Fox thing until 3.
Yep. Yeah, technically that's the first. It probably says adamantium somewhere in Deadpool 3, but it's not really. It's ever so slightly technically the MCU.
Okay,
but this is the first like MCU capital letters that says adamantium.
Interesting. Okay, and how long has it been since the Eternals? Do you have any idea on that, or
it was like 2019? I think it was right before COVID.
No. I don't mean in our world.
Oh, you're talking about.
I mean, like in the timeline, because the Eternals happened, and their whole climax of the movie was stopping the big Celestial from coming out of the Earth and destroying the planet, which is all fine and dandy, unless you watched the movie, in which case it sucked.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not good.
But,
it's real boring. I like this movie more than I liked Eternals. Just to be clear.
Well, duh.
Yeah.
Would you rather watch this movie or you rather watch paint dry? Like, come on, it's not an option.
Where do I'm trying to. That's not important right now. But I was going to start coming up with the movies that I liked less than this and see where it falls. But I don't care about that right now.
Oh, we can do that at the end when we're grading. But I was just curious to see how long it's been, because right now Thaddeus Ross got elected, and he's talking about how this treaty needs to be signed and ratified before his 100 days are up, because that is his legacy.
Yeah, I mean,
that is the biggest thing they'll remember.
They say they've been mining it a little bit, so I imagine it's been like a year at the least.
Okay. Well, he just got elected. It's within his 100 days, so this is sometime late winter, early spring. And kind of the whole movie kind of takes place like between I guess January 20th, Inauguration Day, and the end of his 100 days.
Something like that.
So what is that? February, March, April, like the end of April?
Yep.
All right, cool. And then Eternals. Oh, fuck. I don't want to do this math. Nobody cares about this
I don't
math.
know if I even remember what time of day Eternals was.
Yeah, I mean, who can say, really?
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to watch the movie again to find out.
Name me 3 Eternals right now. Go.
I can name you Icarus.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie.
Well, that's not her name.
And the really funny gay black guy who built stuff.
That's also not his name.
Those are the 3 Eternals.
You're thinking of Thena and Phastos, and I only know their names because they're cards in Marvel Snap.
What about Barry Keoghan's character? What was his name?
Don't remember.
He's like the moody one.
I don't know.
Who knows? Who cares? I only really remember Icarus because he's actually named after a fucking Greek.
Well, Thena is Athena without the A. Yeah.
I rolled my eyes visibly. I need to make sure.
I want to say Phastos is a thing too, but it's not Icarus. You know.
Sure. Who fucking
Gilgamesh?
knows?
There's Gilgamesh.
Really?
Yeah, that's one of them.
Which one?
He's I forget the actor's name is, but he's the big buff Asian guy who dated Athena. Angelina Jolie, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if he dated her. I don't know what happened in that movie.
Dude, no one remembers that fucking movie.
It
All I
sucks.
remember is Kit
It's bad.
Harington was in it, and then he was supposed to be like the fucking not soldier, the knight guy. What's his name? With the sword?
He's literally the Black Knight.
Black Knight. Yeah. Yeah. But we're not gonna get Jon Snow as the Black Knight now.
We also might not get Blade at all. The Blade movie is really fucking taking some. So apparently, the guy they had for that, I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head, but they had a lot of drama on set with that, and he apparently didn't like the direction of any of it, and it's been sort of like, it's like a movie that was supposed to come out like a year ago.
Oh no!
And it's not. It doesn't have a trailer. It doesn't have a script. It changed director, and then I think he left. So there might not be a Blade movie. So yeah, that kind of fell apart, and that's kind of the other half of the reveal at the end of that movie is the voice off screen was supposed to be Blade. So I don't know how much of Eternals is going to happen. I don't know how much Star Fox is going to be in movies later on. He's the guy that
yeah, I know Star Fox. I play as him in Super Smash Brothers.
Not quite.
Dual barrel roll.
Yep, that guy. Yeah, no, he's in it.
That's Peppy Hare.
I mean, he will be in the next Marvel movie.
Peppy Hare or Fox McCloud?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this movie was not terrible. It's not the worst Marvel movie I've ever seen by far. It's not the strongest, but it's a solid, like, above average, middle of the road movie.
I like Anthony Mackie as Captain America.
I love Anthony Mackie as Captain America.
I personally am a little bit down on how speechy he is all the time. I don't know if I'm alone in that camp. I know that you were talking up a few of his speeches. Not really talking about, but you were talking about them.
A little bit, yeah. I don't mind little speeches when they're good and well placed.
Yeah. I as a big Captain America guy, I was just a little too lukewarm on this. It didn't do a whole lot for me.
Okay. And that's perfectly valid. I don't know anyone who loves Captain America more than you. You've certainly read more comics than I have. You certainly relate to the character more.
I fell off of comics a little bit after, like, post high school. I think that was when I was real.
Still longer than me, buddy.
Sure. Yeah, D is our real comic book representation guy.
Yeah, D grew up reading them all back in the 90s and stuff like that. But for me, getting into comic books when I was old enough to really get into them, I would read so much of a story, and then I would find out, oh no, they're actually rebooting the universe in a little bit, so everything you just read doesn't matter. And I just kept getting demoralized, and I just kept
that's
like,
DC for sure.
Yeah, I'm a big Batman guy.
Yeah. Marvel, I think, has only really reset the universe once. And it was like a big deal.
The other thing with that was with Marvel was it felt so intimidating. Like I didn't know where to start because like they haven't reset the universe, so this is still an ongoing story. Like where do you jump in?
I mean, even DC, sometimes they're like, okay, they reset the universe. I'm gonna go into this. I'm gonna do whatever. I'm gonna read like Batman Year One or whatever. And then you're reading it, and then eventually, like as you keep going, suddenly the Flash shows up and just goes, "Remember all the stuff that happened in the other universe?" Because I'm from there, by the way. And like it turns into things like, "Ah, shit." Like, okay, cool.
Yep.
I guess that's also still kind of a thing.
Yeah, all that fucking annoying bullshit. Just keeping up with all the different threads and blah, 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 blah.
I think most things you can kind of just ignore that and move on, though.
Yeah. But all in all, solid movie. Not the best, not the worst. I will grade this. What are we doing? You want to do out of 10? You want to do out of 20? Out of a million?
Dealer's choice.
Let's do out of 10.
Okay.
I'm going to say this is a solid 7.5 out of 10.
If you're going to go 7, I don't care what you say. I'm going to go with my heart. I'm going to go
That's the point, yeah.
I'm going to say like, are halves on the table, or is that just 100?
You can do a half.
I'm going to go 5.5. I'm going to go slightly under 6.
Whoa.
Like I said, I didn't really feel it. Like it was the most I am watching a Marvel movie I've felt in a long time. Where it's
I feel like you just graded this higher than Eternals, or lower than Eternals.
Probably. The grading scale. I don't remember what I ranked anything. I like it more than Eternals, but you know what I mean. Like
Not much more. I'm just shitting on you.
Yeah. The scale is irrelevant for the most part. Sorry for anybody who's been keeping track of our things. Nobody has.
No.
But
for that, we would need regular fans.
yeah. But like, yeah, if ever I'm like, I'll give this thing like an 8 or whatever, and it's like, oh, you graded, I don't know, what's a movie that I really liked that we did?
Megalopolis.
Yep. Well, I mean, Megalopolis was. I mean, I don't think we're gonna get better at Megalopolis. To be
Absolutely not. It's a pinnacle of filmmaking.
Now go back to the club.
Yes.
Entitles me.
Maybe Venom 2. You hated a lot.
I didn't hate Venom 2. Venom 2's nothing to me.
It's a nothing burger movie.
And this is less nothing to me than Venom.
Duh! The first one we did, Cats.
Well, Cats is also.
Cats is in that different category of like it's so bad you watch it because it's bad and you make fun of it. You see it ironically.
Man, what's the best thing we saw on this podcast? Cats or Megalopolis?
Oh God, why are you putting those two in the same?
That's a hard pick.
Not really.
The Beekeeper's also up there.
Beekeeper is amazing.
Beekeeper's also nowhere near those two.
Absolutely not. That was a dumb popcorn movie, and everyone knew it going in. And then Jason Statham was like, "I'll deliver the best performance ever."
I love every time a Jason Statham trailer comes out for the first time, and you go, "This is the same. This is the movie you did last time," and he's like the only one where he nails that one guy, but he has one guy in him.
Yep.
And
I mean, there's a lot of actors. Giancarlo Esposito is arguably like that.
Yeah, but he
does it very well.
It's different. There's a character that they hired Giancarlo for. I think that Jason Statham is like it. If you said that they were all sequels to each other, I'd believe you.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Have you seen the trailer for The Working Man?
I have.
It's the Beekeeper.
It's the Beekeeper in a different color and with a different font, basically.
He says all the same things. It's just like, what puns is Jason Statham going to say this time? Is it going to be beer related or blue collar job
He's gonna lock
related?
that fucking sharp jaw that could cut open a can of beans.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna give you those smoky eyes, and then he's gonna fucking murder you, and that's the movie.
And I should be like, oh, he's boring, but he's great.
He's amazing.
He's great every time.
He is the absolute best. And then every once in a while, when it's really tense, he's like, "Stop! I just got my suit back from the cleaners," and he just folds the jacket up, places it down nice, while everyone's like, "What the fuck?" and staring at him. And he's like, "All right then, back to it."
If you said that his name was, I think is he Hobbs or Shaw? I think he's Shaw. I'm pretty sure he's Shaw. If you said it was Shaw and the little side adventures, then I would believe you. If it was all spin-offs of the Fast and Furious universe.
Who'd you say he was?
Shaw.
That's correct.
Yes.
He is Deckard Shaw.
Yes.
Who plays Hobbs?
Yes. Well, that's The Rock.
It is The Rock.
Yep.
Idris Elba's in this movie?
Yeah, he's the bad guy.
WWE legend Roman Reigns is in this movie?
Yeah.
What?
Whatchamacallit? Ronda Rousey's in one of the Fast and Furious movies. I think she's in 7.
Ryan Reynolds in this movie?
Yes.
Troy, why have you not made me watch Hobbs and Shaw? Ooh, 60%.
I actually haven't seen Hobbs and Shaw. That's the only Fast and Furious I haven't seen.
I own most of the Fast and Furious movies. I've seen none of them.
We need to do a Fast and Furious day.
We need to do a lot of things, actually. But, you're a fucking piece of shit that keeps making plans with other friends on certain days.
Sorry.
How dare you have more than one friend group? So, bottom line, Captain America, Brave New World. It is a solid film. It is worth seeing. It's not the best. You're not going to walk out of it and remember it for the rest of your life. It's not going to change anything about the current MCU.
If you are down and like anti-MCU at this point, if you're like, they're boring, they're pumping out a lot, it hasn't been good since Endgame or even before that for some people. If you're in that camp, I don't think this is going to win you over.
No, it's not going to win you over. That might be more of a job for Fantastic Four, maybe Thunderbolts. But at the same time, if you're like, Marvel's all right, we're kind of the same camp I'm in, go see it. It's worth the price of admission.
Which I feel like we've flipped on over the years.
I was certainly a lot more anti-Marvel before, just because it felt like...
You also get real grumpy anytime somebody says, Jeff, you got to watch these things.
That's the thing. I don't want to be presented with homework when I see an interesting movie come out or whatever. like for this movie, I went and saw it. I did not watch a second of Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney Plus.
Yep.
Didn't make a difference. I still enjoyed this movie just fine.
Sure. Yeah, I think Isaiah is really the only character that
And
is a
U.S.
big
agent.
deal.
I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, but that's Thunderbolts. That's down the line. That's kicking the can. You don't need to worry about that yet.
I see. I do know that actor though. I don't know his name off the top of my head. But I've seen his face before.
He's I don't know.
Vamp, do something.
How
How fucking dare you?
I was trying to remember his name and I couldn't.
I lean away from my microphone to type something into the internet. And
I'm
you're just
sorry.
like, oh, let me just be quiet.
It's been a while. We haven't been doing, and not that I've been better before, but
You're the worst. Marvel Cinematic Universe portrayed by Wyatt Russell. Oh, that's I know. Who he is.
yeah. I do know. I knew his face.
Yeah.
He's
That's
also
Kurt Russell's kid.
He also plays, I believe, young Kurt Russell in the Godzilla show, Monarch.
He's also the dad from Night Swim.
He is also in Night Swim.
Yeah!
That's right.
The ex-baseball player.
Oh, it's all coming back to me now.
Yeah!
Oh, that's a good movie we loved.
That's a great movie.
That we loved.
We loved it all so much.
What if there was a pool and it was evil?
I literally think that's the only thing I'm looking at that I know him from is
Night Swim.
Yeah. All right. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, he's relatively.
Oh, he was in Cowboys and Aliens.
Interesting.
I wish that movie was better.
I forgot that movie existed.
I know, right?
Daniel Craig.
Yup. He was in 22 Jump Street.
Okay.
Ingrid Goes West.
So he's in stuff.
Goon, Last of the Enforcers.
Gooners?
No, this is a hockey movie.
Okay.
It's a hockey movie with Liev Schreiber.
Welcome back to the Wyatt Russell podcast, where we talk all things Wyatt Russell. What's Wyatt Russell's next movie after Thunderbolts?
He doesn't have one.
Mm.
You're Cordially Invited is on his list here. That's the movie with Will Ferrell and Reese Witherspoon.
I think this is about time where we end the podcast.
But that movie comes out before Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I think the Wyatt Russell segment is
Troy, can I tell you, because we have like 5 minutes, I fucking got sucked into the Indiana Jones game.
Yeah.
And I completely perfected it within like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
From start to finish, I got every achievement. I did everything there is to do. And it was enough that it made my wife really like turn a new leaf on the character of Indiana Jones. And I got to show her the original trilogy, and she fucking loved it.
You Crystal Skull yet?
No.
Mm.
I told my wife that we're gonna watch the movies, and she was like, "Okay, are there bad ones?" And I was like, "Yes, but I'm not gonna tell you which ones they are. We're just gonna watch them." I will tell you, they made 3 pretty close together within like 10 years from start to finish, and then they took off for like 40 years. Then they made 2 more, and she was like, "Oh, those are the bad ones, aren't they?" And I was like, "I didn't say that, but we should watch the movies." And then we watched 1, 2, and 3, and she was like, "Temple of Doom is fucking garbage. I never want you to show that to me again. It is the worst." But Raiders, fucking A+ movie. Loved that. And I was like, yay!
Where's your Indiana rankings?
Crusade. No. Maybe.
Crusade's
Crusade
fun.
and Raiders are like almost tied for number 1.
Crusade is kind of the Beyond Thunderdome of Indiana Jones.
That's not true.
I mean,
that's
as
Temple
like
of
a
That's Temple of Doom.
You're probably not wrong.
That is Temple of Doom. Temple of Doom is so wildly out of left field and a drastic change from 1 or 3.
Yeah.
He's just a dude who's out doing shit at Club Obi-Wan, and then he ends up in fucking India and helps out these people because their stones are missing.
Yep.
But Raiders and Crusade are probably tied for number 1. Number 2 might be Crystal Skull. And then
Fascinating.
Yeah, and then 3rd place goes to Temple, and then I haven't seen Dial of Destiny, so it gets last place by default. I would definitely put Crystal Skull above Temple of Doom.
I saw the last 15 minutes of like the middle of Dial of Destiny on a cruise once. And that was about
That's about where you would see that movie.
If I watched the entire movie on a cruise, I think that I would have liked it.
I find it very fascinating that Harrison Ford went to bat with Spielberg and and Disney to make Dial of Destiny, but was adamant about them killing off Han Solo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, you backed the wrong horse.
Well, he was promised a dead Han Solo back in Empire.
Was that a promise?
Well, George wanted to kill a character.
I see.
George Lucas. He wanted to kill a character, and Harrison Ford basically was like, I think it would be perfect for it to be Han Solo. Like, I volunteer Han Solo to die, is essentially what happened.
So then we get frozen in carbonite.
And then he gets frozen in carbonite, and then Harrison Ford watches the movie, or I don't know if he watches the movie, but he's told about it, basically, before the movie comes out. And he's like, George, what the fuck is this? He's like, we had a perfect arc of he's like, he doesn't want to help the rebellion. He's like a no good smuggler. He turns around and then he ends up kind of sacrificing everything for the rebellion. And that was Harrison Ford, who's like a guy who like cares a lot about like scripts and like the authenticity of the movie and stuff like that. Was sort of what he saw Han Solo as. And then George Lucas turns to him and he says, Harrison Ford at least has said, this is the exact quote. He said, nobody wants to buy a dead Han Solo toy. And then the next movie is where we get things like the Ewoks and stuff like that, where it's George Lucas fully being like, we're marketing some things here. Like, and I am pro Ewok. I love the Ewoks, but it's obviously like that is a bit of a marketing. That's like the original Baby Yoda, let's sell some toys type of thing. And I think that by the time Return of the Jedi comes around, Harrison Ford's heart isn't as into it, but he's a professional, so he did the movie like all the way through, and is a great Han Solo in that movie. And that's when JJ comes to him years and years later, and he goes, "Kill me, kill Han Solo. Like he should have died a long time ago. Han Solo needs to die. Like it's like as a point."
Yeah. All right. That will wrap it up. We're gonna end on dead Han Solo. Thank you all.
Nobody wants to die by a dead Red Hulk toy.
No one wants to die a dead Red Hulk.
Nobody wants to die Hulk. Hulk die.
We're just gonna end on that stroke you had there, buddy. You wanna correct that? No?
Nope.
Right.
I think that's what I wanted to say.
Leave that in the record books.
That's everything I wanted to say. Where does the game rank in all of the Indiana Jones movies? If it was an Indiana Jones movie, where is it?
The game?
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Indiana Jones.
Oh!
Yeah. If it was...
Third, under Raiders and Crusade.
Interesting.
It's honestly a really good plot of there's these pieces of stone that are identical in their creation and their makeup, but they're at different religious holy sites all over the world. But if you mark on a map where they all are, it makes a great circle around the globe. So Indiana Jones was just sitting in the college when this massive fucking giant of a man with a pendant that looks like a cross from the Catholic Church invades the college, beats the fuck out of Indiana Jones, and steals a cat mummy of Indy's out of his collection. And then Indy's like, well, what the fuck does he want with the cat mummy? And that mystery leads him to the Vatican, where he finds out about the other pieces. And there's another archaeologist.
Spoilers for Indiana Jones if anybody's playing it.
There's another archaeologist working with the Nazis trying to gather the pieces first, named Voss. And he's a very punchable character. I love him so much. And you just kind of racing against Voss to track down all the pieces. You end up going between the Vatican, you go to Egypt, and then you go to Sukhothai, which is in Southeast Asia. It's a really fucking fun game. As far as like supernatural elements in it, that leans more towards Crystal Skull and Dial of Destiny.
Gotcha.
But it's not terribly out of place, and it does come full circle. And there will be an expansion DLC coming later this year.
I will probably get around to it because it's on Game Pass.
It's on Game Pass. And it's honestly, if you don't care about the Ancient Relic collectibles, which you shouldn't, you're not a nerd like me, then you can...
I'm a different kind of nerd.
You can get through the whole game pretty quickly.
Yeah, I I will.
15, 20 hours.
Unfortunately, right now, I downloaded yesterday Civilization 7. And
This is better than Civ 7.
I'm a big Civ guy. Is the problem?
Nuclear loving Gandhi will be there forever. Indiana
That's
Jones will not.
True.
Plus, you'll get to hear Troy Baker as Indiana Jones,
Yep.
doing all the lines, making all the quips, hitting on this woman named Gina. It's a great game. It's a fucking amazing game. Anyway, goodbye.